All right, it's time to cook up a new deck list. Let's get ready. We're gonna have to cook up something fierce to compete with all these fire decks in this tier 0 format. I gotta create the most perfect sauce to defeat them. Oh, it's just not working. The sauce isn't thick enough. Oh, to be able to beat Snake Eye, I'm gonna need the help of a mighty friend. Shooting Majestic Star Dragon, please help me defeat the Snake Eyes. This is it. This is what will defeat Fire King Snake Eye. What? Infernoids? All right, now it's time to get into the actual deck profile. So first, quick shout out to Sean for letting me post this on his channel. Always much appreciated. And big shout out to the guys who went to locals with me the other day. And let's get right into it. We'll start with the main deck and how it went. So I went 4-0. I played against round 1 Dark World. Round 2 was Sprite, Pure Sprite. Round 3 was Goblin Bikers. And then round 4 was Pure Snake Eye with Jet Synchron. All right, let's get into it. So first, we're playing Snake Eye Infernoid, obviously, because of the title and the little video at the front there. So let's just start with the really good cards, which is the Snake Eye cards, of course, because these cards are busted. So we got 3 Ash, 3 Wanted, 1 Oak, and 2 Poplar for basically the engine starters. I had to borrow a Poplar, so this is my second Poplar. So yeah, these cards are fantastic. Diabell Star is great if you have a bunch of you're playing 3, especially since if you have a bunch of Infernoids in your hand, they're really easy discards for Black Witch to summon. So yeah, 3 Black Witch is definitely like the best part of this deck for sure. And the 2 Flamberge. We weren't playing 1 because we are playing, of course, the Field Spell and the one Sinful Spoil. So but yeah, the Flamberge bringing back Oak and Flamberge bring back Decatron. Decatron is the Infernoid level 1 Pyro that you're searching a lot during your combo. You're usually summoning it off of original. Being able to constantly put that back on the field is super good because it's a soft once per turn to Foolish. So it just like throws like basically like half your deck into the graveyard of Infernoids, and that's pretty good. So yeah, that's the Snake Eye cards. These are all pretty stock standard. I feel like everybody has found the ratio for these cards to be played at. So next for extenders and other play starters. So we have 2 Bonfire. I only own 2. So I would probably want this to be at 3, but actually like after playing like a bunch with only 2, it's like kind of nice to not see like multiples in your hand or anything like that. We're playing a 40 card list, so it doesn't come up like too often now that you see like both of them. So it's like kind of nice actually, since it is a hard once per turn. So then we got 3 Wanted because of course Black Witch is what we want to be seeing most of the time. So 3 Wanted is super important. All right, next the Infernoid cards. So we're playing 2 Decatron. We're playing 1 Antra, 1 Patrulia, 2 Deviati, and 2 Anunku for our Infernoids. So very small, but with just this amount of Infernoids, you can do a whole lot of stuff. So basically your end goal is you want to, over the course of your first turn, you want to cycle Decatron 3 times. 1 off the summon off original, 1 off the Oak summon, and then 1 off the Flamberge summon to get 3 Infernoids in your graveyard, plus himself. So then during the end of the turn, you can when you have your end board of your Link 4, whatever it could be, Zealantis or the other one, IP in the spell and trap, and then Flamebridge on the field, you can banish 3 Infernoids to summon out either Anunku or Deviati at the end of your combo. So you summon out this, and you have either a spell trap monster negate or a spell trap negate to pass the turnover. What's better about this, and why I think this is like super good, is the Infernoid monsters to activate that spell or monster negate has to tribute 1 monster. And conveniently enough, one monster that you really want to tribute during your opponent's turn is Flamberge. So you can use Flamberge to bring out IP, and then whatever they do first, you can either a spell trap or a monster, you can just negate it, banish it, also very important, negate and banish, and then send your Flamberge. Flamberge brings back Decatron and Oak. Oak brings back something else. Decatron foolishes another one of these 2. So you get another monster or spell negate on top of that. Plus, you get the follow-up from the Oak or the Snash or the whatever else you summon back. It also gives you enough bodies with IP to go into like an Apollosa or an SP or anything you want besides that. So, yeah, being able to Foolish on your turn to set up the turn 1, and then also being able to Foolish on your opponent's turn for either a monster or a spell negate, depending on what the situation is very, very cool. So, yeah, the Infernoids are awesome. Yeah, they're just like, they're so cool. So, yeah, big fan of the Infernoid monsters. Next, I wasn't playing any hand traps in this version of the deck because you play a lot of Infernoid, so you don't take it, like, you lose a lot of space in your deck. So I decided to go for the board breaker approach. So for board breakers, we were playing the best card in this deck. The whole reason I wanted to play this, Void Imagination. So for anyone who doesn't know what this card does, basically it makes all of the Infernoid monsters on your field level 1, so that they can special summon from the graveyard, because they all have a summoning restriction from the graveyard that if the levels on your field or the ranks on your field is above 8, so it has to be a 9 or 10, then you can't summon them from the graveyard, which is why Flamberge being an 8 is so nice, because even while it's on the field, you can still summon out the Infernoids from your graveyard. Very cool. But Void Imagination does, it turns all their levels to 1, so you can like summon out a bunch of them. But then it's also their fusion spell. And why this is such a good going second card is if your opponent controls a monster that was special summoned from the extra deck, it sends itself to the grave to fusion summon. And then if your opponent controls a monster summoned from the extra deck, you can use Infernoids from your deck to fusion summon, which is insane, because you can basically send every single Infernoid in your deck to the graveyard, which is insane. So, and then on top of that, you get to summon their fusion boss monster, which is Tiara, which is in the extra deck, and I'll show that off when we get to the extra deck. But this card like wins games on its own if it resolves. It's so powerful. Just being able to bring back Infernoids, board wipe things and stuff like that, it's insane. So this card, literally the whole reason I want to play the deck is to resolve this card. Next, we're playing 3 Droplet. Droplet's insane in this format, I think, and I don't think as many people are playing it. I've started to see it a little bit more, but yeah, Droplet is insane. This card is crazy. Just being able to like send Infernoids from your hand, like being able to send cards on your field, like dodging stuff. This card is nuts. So yeah, 3 Forbidden Droplet. Next, we got the 1 Kurikara, which is the search. Usually if I summon back Ash during my opponent's turn to get follow-up, I usually search this, so I know I'll win the game next turn, because I can bring back Infernoids, bait stuff, Kurikara, win the game from there. Yeah, so the 1 Kurikara, it comes up like a whole lot, and I'm super glad I played the 1 of. Maybe I'll play more, who knows. Next, we got the Talents package. We got 4. We got 2 Thrusts, 2 Talents. These cards are like really insane. So going second, and of course going first, a lot of hand traps, so Talents is great. But Thrust usually you'd think is not as good going first into hand traps and stuff like that, because like what are you setting if you don't have any like trap cards in your deck or anything like that? But I actually was playing the 1 trap card, the Black Gloat Laughs. Now, this was totally Joshua Smith's fault. He totally pilled me on this, and in his most recent Sky Striker Snake Eye list, he played Thrust and won Black Goat Laughs, because it's a good send off Forbidden Droplet, it's a good send off Diabell Star. It's like you can get it out of your hand pretty easily, and going first with thrust, you can set it, and it's not bad to set going first. Just be able to like try and shut down your opponent's plays, not being able to special summon a certain monster. So very crazy. I didn't see it once. It never happened. It was never in my hand. It was never in the graveyard the entire day. Who knows? It may or may not be good. I don't know. I always sided it out going second, so it's like you can take it as that. Then the last two cards, 1-for-1, Monster Reborn. These cards are nuts. 1-for-1 is really good in this version of Snake Eye because you have a lot more monsters, so it's live like 100% of the time. And Monster Reborn is also just a good extender, if anything, and also going second, just like in the mirror match, which I played the last round. This card is just nuts. So just gets you that extra body. And that's the main deck, 40 cards. I might bump it up to 45, honestly. There's like a couple more like sort of like even like board breaker tools I want to like throw in there just to like hopefully draw more of those rather than some of the Infernoid monsters. Might want to change the Infernoid ratios around a bit too, but yeah, I really like this main deck having it be 40 and not like anything more than that. So but all right, let's move on to the extra deck. So for the extra, we're playing one Typhon. That's the only Xyz monster. I summoned it once in a 1v1 game, but I don't know. This probably isn't necessary. I just had it. I haven't played with it yet. Wanted to play with it. Then we got for links, we got Link Karibo, of course, goated card. I was playing Anima for a little bit and then realized that Anima sucks, and this is just way better. So you play Link Karibo. For Link 2s, we got, of course, the Charmers. These cards are insane going second. They just like plow through people. Hito especially is really insane. We got IP and SP to finish off our Link 2s. Yeah, these cards are both, you know what these cards are. They're nuts. So now a little bit more interesting, I think, because I mean this deck in essence is probably better at going second than anything else. Honestly, the Infernoid cards are like all going second cards, especially the fusion spell and stuff like that. So I decided to like go a little bit harder on the going second cards. So we have Selene, Promethean, and Appaloosa. These are just like your toolbox stuff and whatnot. I summoned Appaloosa a couple times. It's very good. And then we have everything else. We got the access code package and the Zealantis package in the extra deck. So it was very funny. The final round against Pure Snake Eye, I had enough buys on the field to make access code and then afterwards make Promethean into the Zealantis line. Insane. It's insane. You can just blow through boards doing that. It's crazy. So I really enjoyed playing both the Selene access code and the Zealantis line. Really funny thing about Zealantis is if you're missing body, Infernoid bodies in your graveyard during like the end of your turn, like you didn't summon, you wanted to like keep Decatron up as a monster negate, like the entire time, like when you summoned it off original, like you send the monster negate and you just want to leave it there. You can Zealantis at the end of the turn and bounce everything and then summon it back. And since it's special summoning again, you can send another card with Decatron, which is pretty funny. If you want to like change it to the spell negate and then pass turn or whatever you want to do, it's funny that Zealantis triggers Decatron an additional time if you need it to get more buys in the grave. So Zealantis is crazy. And then the last three cards in the extra deck were the Tiara package. So, Infernoid Tiara. I love this card. Basically what it does is it needs the two big Infernoid monsters to fusion summon and then any other number of Infernoid monsters, and then it gains effects based on how many you use. So really you just however many Infernoids you have left in your deck, send them all to the graveyard. It doesn't matter. If you have some in your hand, you can't send them from your hand with the fusion spell, sadly, but if you have however many you have left in the deck, just send them all to the graveyard. Basically, we only run 8 Infernoids if you count both Decatrons, so we can only get the first 2 effects. The first one is the one that really matters, though. It's you get to send 3 cards from both players' extra decks to the graveyard, which is like crazy because you can send, of course, Garua and Malong, and then some other. Usually, I'd send Apollosa if I was going second, because that's the only time you're summoning this is if you're going second. So you just get rid of a Link monster that you don't really need, or Typhon, because I'm trying to end the game. And then you get a free draw, a bounce, and a 3,400 fire body, and all your Infernoids in the graveyard to summon back and try and push through your opponent's board. Insane. Whenever I summon Tiara and the effect resolves, I win the game. It's just that simple. So Tiara is crazy. I was playing Entis for a little bit. I think Malong is just way better. Also, you'll see in my side deck, Malong I think is a little better for what I was siding. Just being a synchro monster, that can kind of, maybe you can figure out what that is. But Guru also fusion, and then you have Link and Exceed. So I wanted one of each type, just to make sure that I had targets for everything. So yeah, I was pretty happy with the extra deck. I'm not quite sure really what I would cut, if anything, and yeah. So let's move on to the side deck real quick. This is a local, so I wasn't really I was siding specifically for my locals, so take it with a grain of salt with the side deck. I didn't actually end up using half of it, and there are definitely things you can improve in the side deck. But I was playing the Floodgate outs just in case people playing stun or something crazy. We have one Guru player and stuff like that, so nice to have. One soul release as a thrust target in case I played up against Snake Eye Fire King, because it's really good against the Fire King version. Not so much against the Pier version, but just wanted to have it in there as a thrust target just in case. 3 Nibiru for some of the crazy Wombo nonsense that some people do over at our locals. So this card's pretty good against some of that stuff. And then the card I was referencing, 3 Ultimate Slayer. I think this card is pretty crazy right now. It's like not terrible. Against branded, you can return their Mirror Jade, or their whatever they have, send Garua, get an extra draw. Against the pure Fire King version, not Fire King, but Snake Eye version, if you start the main phase by activating this, bouncing their Formula Synchron, they can't respond with monster effects. So you can send Formula, send Malong. Malong tries to bounce the Borlo Savage, and that has to bait out that negate or else they lose it. So pretty crazy, actually. Or you can bounce their Flamberge if you have like a Forbidden Droplet in your hand, so you can negate the other one. So Ultimate Slayer is pretty good, I think. I think it's pretty good. It's also not once per turn, so if you draw multiple, you can do it multiple times, which is pretty nice. And then the final couple cards here, we had 4 Bestials. The Bestials I think are always really good against pure Snake Eye. You can hit IP Masquerader or anything like that. They're good against Voiceless and other like Tier and other just random stuff. So I like having 4 in my side deck. I've sided them in a bunch, and they've always come up. Against Dark World, I opened 2, but he had Talons, and started with normal summon Quacky Mirror, whatever the heck the Monster Negate one is. Curse you, Ian. But yeah, the Bestials are pretty good. And then I didn't know what to play with for last card, so I played one more field spell. So if after siding I was going first, I'd side another field spell instead of some of the Void Imaginations, just to like see it more consistently to play through stuff, because this card is very, very good. So yeah, that's the whole deck profile. Definitely still needs improvements. I don't know how much further it's going to take, but I'm really looking forward to the Infernoid support coming out soon. And yeah, if you have any questions, or if you have anything that you think would be better, I'd really like to know. So let me know in the comments, and thanks for watching.